The key to winning the Premier League, the key to establishing dominance in the Premier League is to buy players from the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga, you heard it. It's crazy to say because of how much hate the Bundesliga gets. The Bundesliga is the key to the Premier League. And the faster Premier League fans, clubs, scouts, managers realize this, they will be running to the Bundesliga to buy a majority of their players. Liverpool are doing this exact thing. To strengthen upon the team that just won an impressive league title, they are looking to further boost their squad by mainly buying players from the Bundesliga. And we'll talk about that all in the video today. And I will tell you this, they're not reinventing the wheel. They're not the first team to realize this because they are simply just copying Manchester City, the team that has dominated the Premier League, the club that has dominated the Premier League, made the Premier League look like a farmer's league, a joke the last 8 years, right? Since Pep arrived. They established their dominance. They filled the core players in their squad with players from the Bundesliga, their most important players, their game changers from the Bundesliga. Most of them, at least. And Liverpool are just copying what Manchester City doing, and they are very smart about it. Very smart about it. So we're going to talk about all that in this video. So let's just get into it. So Liverpool this summer, they're doing business. They already got Florian Wirtz in. They got Jeremy Frimpong in. They are about to bring in Hugo Ekitike in. When all of these three players are in and confirmed, Wirtz and Frimpong are already there, obviously. But when Ekitike is confirmed and he's in this Liverpool team, you will all of a sudden have a Liverpool team where 5 of their starting guys are Bundesliga players, signings from the last 3 years, 3 or so years. Wirtz is going to come and start in this Liverpool team. I mean, he is the star signing for this team. He's going to be the face of this team in the post-Salah era. Bundesliga player. Jeremy Frimpong. I know Liverpool fans are big fans of Connor Bradley. I think they will come to a harsh realization that Frimpong is going to have Bradley holding that bench and being a B team player. Jeremy Frimpong from the Bundesliga is coming to be the starting right back for this Liverpool team. And Hugo Ekitike is coming in from Eintracht Frankfurt from the Bundesliga after this past season to be the starting striker or left winger for this Liverpool team. So when all of that happens, you will have 5 starters in this Liverpool team from the Bundesliga, signings made from the Bundesliga, because we're including Konate. He's the best partner for Van Dijk. And when Van Dijk is gone, he will be the starting guy back there with whoever is beside him at center back. Gravenberch, the guy Liverpool fans were saying is the best midfielder in the world, that were thanking Bayern for making the signing of Gravenberch so easy and so cheap. They saw the quality Gravenberch brought. Now, you could argue Gravenberch, most of his skills were adopted in the Eredivisie at Ajax, but he was at Bayern for 2 years and he was able to train with the best Bundesliga team for 2 years and pick up on that intensity and pick up on that professional level. And he comes to Liverpool and he makes a completely smooth transition. After a year of an adjustment period, he makes a completely smooth transition at Liverpool. Not to mention last summer, also signing Dominic Szoboszlai, who was a starter this past year for Liverpool, an engine in the midfield, a player that Liverpool fans have really fallen in love with because of the energy he brings to the team, because of the engine he is running up and down the field to work. So you're seeing that Liverpool, and now hold on, now they're bringing Hugo Ekitike, an absolute baller from the Bundesliga, to further establish their team, to further establish dominance, to go back to back in the Premier League. And you guys, don't get it twisted. They probably will go back to back in the league. And next summer, don't be surprised if Arne Slot goes shopping again and FSG goes shopping again in the Bundesliga for another 1 or 2 players to further better their team. From a Dortmund, from a Leipzig, from a Leverkusen again, maybe from a Stuttgart, whoever. Don't be surprised. So it's wild to say because, I think it's really Premier League fans and La Liga fans, but mainly Premier League fans. This Farmers League thing, this disrespect to the Bundesliga has in large part been due to Premier League sentiment of the Bundesliga, because Premier League fans look at some of the worst Bundesliga some players that came from the Bundesliga to to the Premier League and did awful. And in a lot of these cases, the players that top players at the time from the Bundesliga that came to the Premier League and didn't do so well, it was largely due to the fact that they were not the proper signings for their teams. They were not whether they were not played in the correct position, they were not the proper signings for the team, whatever. It wasn't really due to a quality issue. It really wasn't. The only guy I could think of that was a high profile signing from the Bundesliga that basically was a flop in the Premier League, and he wasn't really ever that good, was Timo Werner. But the issue with the Timo Werner situation was people, Chelsea didn't properly scout him. Tottenham didn't properly scout him because they would have known he was heavily dependent on a Julian Nagelsmann system to score the amount of goals he did in the Bundesliga 5-6 years ago when he was one of the top strikers in Europe. That's a crazy statement to say that Timo Werner was one of the top strikers, but there was a time where Timo Werner was top 5. There was a time, and that's not a bad thing to say. That was a realistic universe we lived in. That wasn't a multiverse. That was the universe we lived in. That wasn't a Marvel multiverse or whatever. It wasn't another Marvel TV show. And I want to get to this point as well. Why is the Bundesliga the key to the Premier League? And I've been preaching this for a while now. I've said it so many times on my Twitter account. Follow Hokage Puya on Twitter for the best takes on the platform. Literally the most unbiased best takes you've ever seen. Go to my Twitter page and follow me. Why is the Bundesliga the key to the Premier League? Well, one, I think a lot of people, because of all the league titles Bayern have won, they really just sleep on the overall quality of the Bundesliga. The overall quality of our defenders, attackers, midfielders. Because it's such an intense league, because it's such an attacking league overall, from top to bottom of the table, you have all kinds of attacking talent in the league and midfielding talent in the league. And because it's an attacking league, don't think that there are no quality defenders to buy from the Bundesliga. Don't think that, because the few outstanding center backs from the Bundesliga are outstanding and catch people's eye in the Bundesliga because in such a high level of an attacking league, they stand out because they're able to defend against all these amazing talents in the Bundesliga. So that's why a Konate has been successful, and he's a quality player. Not related to Liverpool, but Pacho from Eintracht Frankfurt went to PSG, and he's one of the best center backs in the world and was one of the main players in them winning a treble this past season. The Bundesliga quality is a lot higher than a lot of people realize. But here's another thing. This is probably even the bigger aspect, the bigger point as to why the Bundesliga is the key to winning the Premier League. There's only one league in Europe that matches the intensity of the Premier League, and in my opinion, it is equal to the intensity of the Premier League, and it's the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga is a physically demanding league and a very intense league, tons of pressing. Just, I think in terms of physical requirements to play in a league, how quick the football is, the Premier League and Bundesliga are equals. No, one is not better than the other in terms of quality of football and largely in terms of the intensity of the game, the physical demands of the game. The Bundesliga might be even greater than the Premier League. It might be even greater for the Premier League. So these players in the Bundesliga are able to transition. These top players from the Bundesliga are able to transition smoothly into the Premier League because stepping to the Premier League, it's just like playing in the Bundesliga, just a slightly different style of play. In fact, the Bundesliga is probably more physically demanding than the Premier League. So they come to the Premier League, and it's still difficult, but it's not that bad. It's not like they're taken aback. It's not like they're shocked by the intensity levels of the Premier League because they've been playing like this the last couple of years before making the move. Before making the move in the Bundesliga, they've been playing at this level. And I think Liverpool have realized this, and you have to go here. You have to go here first. Manchester City realized this the last 8-9 years. They realized that, and Pep realized, but probably Pep realized this because of his time as Bayern manager, that I need to buy players from this league because what I want to play, the physical demands of this new level of football I want to play, I need players that can transition to the Premier League right away and, in fact, be already at the level, physical requirements of the league. And he realizes that in large part, yes, he's made a ton of signings that aren't from the Bundesliga and they have been successful, but the core key players the last 7, 8 years are from the Bundesliga. Kevin De Bruyne, Pep Guardiola saw him in the Bundesliga. He says, I got to bring him over. He saw Ilkay Gundogan in the Bundesliga. He said, I need to bring him over. These two are the faces of that Man City midfield, of them establishing their dominance in the Premier League. They are the poster boys of that Manchester City midfield. And in the last couple of years, he again brings in more top quality players to further replenish that spine of the team. Guardiola, their best defender from the Bundesliga, from the Red Bull system. Manuel Akanji on the bottom left of your screen. Their two best defenders right now are Guardiola and Manuel Akanji. Haaland, their lethal clinical goal scorer. The guy from the Bundesliga, the guy from Dortmund, the guy that people said coming from Dortmund would not even reach 15 goals, came in his first season and shattered the Premier League goal scoring record. Leroy Sané back then, another player Pep saw from the Bundesliga at his time at Bayern, he brought him in, and Leroy Sané was a PFA Young Player of the Year. He is a very important piece to the Man City puzzle at the beginning of their domination. And now Pep realizes this again, and I think he still doesn't realize it again to the full extent, but he brings in a guy like Omar Marmoush in the winter window this last season, one of the top Bundesliga players, and Marmoush has slotted in perfectly into Premier League life. And the beginning of his time at Man City was an adjustment period because he's coming into the middle of the season. But I'm telling you, this up and coming season, don't be surprised if Omar Marmoush starts flying, starts banging in goals, starts having insane amounts of impact. Don't be surprised when it happens. So, I have to give credit to Liverpool, FSG, Slot, the Sporting, whoever's involved, the main guys at Liverpool involved with the transfers. They realize that the Bundesliga is the key. They realize the most Premier League ready players outside of the Premier League that are still high quality players are from the Bundesliga, and they are making that move to signing these guys. And Manchester City, they established their dominance the last eight years by establishing the core of their team to be Bundesliga players. I mean, the face of that Man City midfield is Gundogan, KDB up until they won the treble. That's the face of the Man City midfield. The beginning of Man City's dominance, Leroy Sané is the best winger in the Premier League with Eden Hazard. Guardiola last year, yes, Man City had a tough year. He's still one of the top center backs in the league. Haaland, lethal clinical goal scorer, best striker in the world, one of the best strikers in the world. And it frustrates me. It really does frustrate me as a Bundesliga fan, as a Bayern fan, that Premier League fans still continue to disrespect the Bundesliga. They still continue to look down on the league when they don't realize that the two most dangerous team, the two most successful teams in England the last 8-9 years have turned to the Bundesliga to strengthen their teams and get to the level they're at. And until Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, and all these other teams realize this, they're going to stay behind Liverpool and Man City, and they won't catch up. They won't catch up. So credit to Liverpool. They realize Bundesliga is the key to the Premier League. And again, they're just copying the Man City Pep Guardiola playbook. Bring the top Bundesliga players in, and they will easily fit into Premier League life and impact your team right away, and strengthen and take your team to another level. And you guys, for the Liverpool, don't even forget, even in the club era, Firmino was a Bundesliga signing. Thiago came from Bayern. Yes, he had his injuries, but when he played at Liverpool, no one even questions that Thiago was not good enough to play for Liverpool. Everyone knew he was. Just injuries destroyed him. Naby Keita, yes, his time was ended on a sour note, injuries and everything, but when he was fit, he was a very impactful player for Liverpool, and he was from the Bundesliga. So the Bundesliga is the key to the Premier League. And Liverpool, the two best teams in England, the two best teams in the Premier League, realize this, but the rest of the league and their fan base doesn't. It's crazy. It's been your boy Hokage. There's something I really wanted to talk about because I've been trying to preach this for the longest time. And the two biggest teams in England realize this, but the whole nation, the whole fan base of that league will continue to be oblivious and ignorant to the Bundesliga. Low tier, low level, low thought humans. It's been your boy Hokage. Peace.